The identity and trust system within the MetaNet is making some significant progress. In this video, I'll provide a brief update on some things that we've been working on with the trust system, including a recent engineering breakthrough, and then I'll get into a little bit wider context about how this works and why it might be useful in the future. The MetaNet is a system that allows people to communicate and transact with Bitcoin. It enables identity ownership across different apps and services. It enables people to engage in smart contracts, such as with Scrypt, and it enables people to own digital assets and tokens, enabling their use and application in a wide variety of different industries and use cases. Within this system, we have one of the fundamental pillars being identity, meaning that users are able to identify themselves to one another, and they're able to do so in a way that is federated, distributed, aka not reliant on a single central entity who coordinates all identity on the entire platform. To this end, we have developed various technologies and systems around identity, and one of them is the distributed identity trust infrastructure. So the trust infrastructure is essentially the idea that every person has a list of entities they would be willing to trust in order to attest to certain identity attributes of the people they interact with in particular situations or contexts. What this means is, in practical reality, that perhaps I might trust the United States Postal Service in the future, should they ever join the MetaNet, to attest to the validity of postal addresses and to bind them to MetaNet identities. MetaNet identities being keys or the way that we interact with one another on the MetaNet in a secure way. So we have an identity key, which belongs to a user. Of course, the key is not the identity. It's simply something we can use to interact with an entity. But this key for this time has been bound to this particular, postal address of the USPS. So, when I look up this address, I can figure out who is, associated with that address if they are on the MetaNet, and then I could then, interact with that person on the MetaNet. Maybe I could send them a secure message to their key or something. Now, if the user loses the key, then, obviously that can be revoked, and so the key is not the end-all and be-all, but it is a way for us to interact with entities in the world. So the USPS being one such entity in our little example here, we can branch out and talk about different other entities. I keep a list of the entities I'd be willing to trust to certify different people in different contexts, such as maybe I'd be willing to trust an app called Social Cert to just kind of bind perhaps Twitter handles, Discord handles, Facebook accounts, email addresses, telephone numbers to individuals. And that's kind of all they do. And so their whole thing is they verify that that's actually legitimate, that you actually do control that email address or that Instagram account or whatever. And then they bind it to your MetaNet identity so that you can be reached on the MetaNet when someone searches for your particular, say, Instagram account. So different people can choose which entities they want to trust in order to endorse the identities of their counterparties in particular contexts. And this means that there isn't one single entity that governs all identity across the entire MetaNet. So that's a high-level overview of the trust architecture. Now, there was a recent breakthrough at our engineering team. I wouldn't call it a breakthrough. I'd say more of a milestone that we've completed. And this is that today, engineers working on the Babbage team have successfully linked a Discord account handle to a MetaNet identity in such a way as now I can search for somebody by their Discord handle, and if I trust this kind of linking app, which we're going to call social cert, then I can actually communicate securely with the owner of that handle. I can do this, but I can do it across any of my apps and any of the services that I'm using that plug into my MetaNet client and my MetaNet identity. So that no matter where I go, no matter what I do, because I trust this person across everything to certify this particular thing about my counterparties, if I type into a search box on any app that supports the identity resolution system that we are creating, then it will be possible to actually resolve the identity of a particular individual within the system through this approach. And so it will also be possible for you to, of course, register your own identity on this, and people can contact you and communicate with you across, using your Discord handle across the MetaNet. So that's something to look out for in the coming weeks. I'm really excited about this. I wanted to create this video simply to provide a brief overview and a sneak peek into the MetaNet trust infrastructure and kind of how it's going to work. And so I look forward to more updates about this and some tangible demos, some tutorials about how to actually set something like this up and use it within your applications. And so look out for those pieces of content from various people from the Babbage team. So let's go build the future, as I always say at the end of these. Great work from everybody. I'd like to give a shout out to Braden and Scott. You guys have been doing great things. And here's to the future of identity on the internet, and here's to it not being controlled by one single entity who would kind of be in a position to do whatever they want at that point. So that's kind of how we have right now on Web 2, and looking forward to the future, guys. Really looking forward to it. Great work.